Hello, and welcome to Cry Havoc Wargaming, dedicated to bringing you the uncommon. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Ron, and today we're going to do an after-action report of our Virginia invaded campaign. This is the Battle of Warwick with sharp practice. Let's get started. So on the evening of the 31st of December in 1780, Benedict Arnold, who had already captured some pilots in Hampton, who had secured the port at Portsmouth, had been concerned about militia gathering at the village of Warwick, just north of Newport News. In the darkness of night, he sends Ewald's Jaegers, Althouse's company of riflemen from New York, some Queen's Rangers, and possibly some light infantry of the 80th, I'm not quite sure on that, to investigate. And Ewald's Jaegers were tasked with rowing ashore and chasing off these militiamen. The approach was more difficult than they expected. They ended up having to walk ashore in waist-deep water and then attack infantrymen in defensive positions behind fences on a steep hillside. They were outnumbered. There were maybe 50 Jaegers against 200 infantrymen. They did receive some resistance. They ended up calling upon the Queen's Rangers, who were originally providing cover from their boats, to also engage in the matter. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to do that battle, the Battle of the Village of Warwick. So let's go to the gaming table. Our forces for today's game: Colonel Ewald, he's a status 2 officer. Next to him is Lieutenant Briner, status 1, and behind them are 2 skirmisher units of Jaegers. Right over next to them is John Althouse and the Althouse Company, that is New York Volunteers armed with rifles. We have 2 units of Queen's Rangers commanded by Captain Wright, status 2, and Lieutenant Parker, status 1. They're going to begin the game with 11 force morale. All right, over here we have the American command. That's going to start with these 2 units. These are going to be more experienced militia. I apologize for the figures. They're all dressed as regulars. I'm shy figures for militia. They're going to be playing the role of state troops. They probably weren't actually state troops, but we're going to assume that these are some of the local militia that were parolees that had been captured at Charleston. Those guys are commanded by Colonel Dave Wilson. He's a status 2 leader out there in front of them. Then over here we have Captain Andrew Graham. He is a status 2 leader, and he's running 2 groups of standard militia. Skirmishers, these are just musket armed skirmishers. Here is our tabletop. This is to the west of Warwick, part of Newport News. Warwick is a town that's going to become the seat of Newport News as that develops into the modern world. This is based somewhat on the description of the location and somewhat you can see going up the James River. I'll try to include some photographs showing what some of the coastal regions of the James in the lower tidewater area look like as we go through this video. The fence line that's in the middle is placed there because of Ewald's accounts. The primary deployment for the Americans is right in the middle of the table on the far side, between that little opening behind the trees. The British are on these 2 boats here. These boats will not be moving. They're stuck in their area because the water is too shallow to get any closer to the edge. They should actually be even probably further out, but I've run out of water mat. The first we pull our one American flag. One American flag. For right now, I'm going to put them here. Next, one British flag. 5. That's going to be John Althouse, Althouse Company of Rifles. Okay, they can be up to 12 inches from the DP. 12 inches away is going to kind of take away the whole real water issue, I think. That's where they deploy. They don't have anything they can shoot at, so they're just basically deployed. And now, somebody can respond. This is John Ambler. Get a red 4. That's Lieutenant Parker. I think what I want to do is leave those guys together, at least for right now. I'm going to leave him unactivated because he is a junior officer. Tiffin. That's the end of the turn. And we get a British 2. Lieutenant Brimer with Ewald's group. I'm going to go ahead and put them on the table, I think. So they're coming up out of the water themselves. A British flag. A British 1. That's Colonel Ewald himself. We'll have Colonel Ewald's group coming in over here, flashing through the water. Can't really shoot because people are in their way. American 3, Lieutenant William Digg. I could take that other part of that line, but that doesn't look like it's a good idea. I think what we want are those trees. I have a blue flag, a red flag, a red 3, British 3. That's going to be Captain Wright. Captain Wright can deploy. British 5, that is Althouse. Althouse wants to get his guys ashore. I'm going to call it very heavy movement. That reduces two pips on the dice. These are lights, so they can get free if they just keep moving. So Althouse's group is right here. Oh, they also have, I'm going to use one command to get rid of that. And then I'm going to use the other to activate the men. They get a free die because they're lights. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but they're down 2 pips on each die, so it's 5 inches. That's enough to get them out of the water, though. And then we'll go ahead and shoot. It's 5 of them. We're going to add a D6, 2D6, for the quality of the boss. And then I'm going to go ahead and use one of those red flags. They get first fire bonuses. Well, they have rifles. They're all between 16 and 18. So that's effective range. So they need 5s or 6. Normally it's a first fire, so 4 5s or 6, except the darkness rule, we're going to make it 5 or 6. However, they're light infantry skirmishers, so 4, 5, 6 again. So there are 4 5s and 6s. 3 hits. They are behind the fence line, so they are not in the open. 4 5 shock, 6s hit. That's 1 shock. And we get another flag and an American 4. 4 is Ambler. Ambler's already out there. They could fire. Ambler gives a die himself. I'm going to use their 1 flag sitting there for an extra die. They're going to load and fire. Anything over 12 inches is long, so they need 6s for that. But they are a regular skirmisher shooting at long range. That would bring it to 5 to 6, but the darkness is going to put it back up to 6s. We've got 6s. Oh, there's actually hits. They got 3 hits. And they're in the open. There's a 3 and a 5, that's 2 shock. We pull another, get another flag, red flag, British flag. Another American flag. 4, British 4. Lieutenant Parker, I posted them this turn, so I don't think he can activate. American flag, got 2 American flags still out there, and an American 1. That is Colonel Dave Wilson. The better troops have come on right over there. 1 more flag, and that's the end of the turn. I think I pretty much entered everybody out here this turn, so I don't think I can use my flags. And we have a British 2. British 2 is Lieutenant Briner. They're going to try to run. That should have been 12. Some of them are still in the water, so we're going to make it 10. That's plenty fine. They're coming up. All right, Reiner runs for the hills. And Tiffin, that's the end of that turn. Red flag. Red 5, that is Althouse. He's going to drop shock by 1, and he's going to give them 2 load orders. Blue 4. Blue 4 is Ambler. They're going to load and shoot again. There's 6 of them. There's a die for the guy in charge. He cannot use a flag this time because they don't have any. It's going to be 6s again. Alright, no hits that time. Red flag, we got 2 red flags out there. 3 red flags. We could activate somebody out of order. I'm going to wait. We may get 4. That'll let someone go twice. Red 3. Red 3 is Captain Wright. Captain Wright's got tired of this sitting on the boat thing, so he's going to order his men forward. They're going to move. I rolled 5. They've got to deal with the water. That's going to be 4 off, so they're only going to go an inch. British 4. British 4 is Lieutenant Parker. That's the other group on the boat. They're going to roll. They get 6. They can go 2 inches. They're at least in the water. And that's 4 red flags. I'm going to go ahead and use those 4 red flags to activate Briner's unit. So that's going to be -3. So 5, we'll just get rid of one of the 3, so it's 8 inches. Briner's guys are doing well. They're in a good position. British flag. And a British 2. The British 2 is, that was an American flag and an American 2. And that is Andrew Graham, Captain Andrew Graham with the infantry. I'm just going to put him right behind Wilson's more experienced guys. And that's another American flag. We got 2 American flags. 3 American flags. I can activate somebody out of order. I think I may want to do that. Diggs's guys are really close to losing. What this means is when their turn comes up, they won't be able to go. The Germans can still go a second time, but they're going to get the fence. So we're going to try to get that fence first. 7 inches. So Ambler's people are going to get onto the fence line. And that is American 1. That's Dave Wilson's guys. They're going to move for 2. Oh, no problem. The militia have come up and started to take that fence line, as you can see there. That's the better of the 2 militia, and then it's Tiffin. And there's nothing unplayed. We have a red flag, British flag, British flag, British flag. That's 3 flags in a row. That's a special event. It's going to be a move event because the last thing that happened was the movement of Dave Wilson's guys. We roll 2 dice. Get 11. Commissariat. The quartermaster arrives and supplies of powder or water, depending on the player's choice. One group or formation may be supplied. Okay, that wasn't really effective. We didn't have anybody out. And red 3. Right of the Queen's Rangers. He's going to continue trying to move. 11 minus 4 is going to be 7. 7 actually gets him pretty well onto the shoreline. Almost there. And Tiffin. But we have 3 red flags out there. So anything except Wright's group can actually activate. It's not an activation of their leaders, so they don't get any of the pluses or things like that. I'm going to try to activate the other Queen's Rangers. They got 8. That's going to bring 4 inches. That's going to bring them up near the captain's unit. That's the first one. Second one I'm going to use to move Althouse's guys to get them maybe out of harm's way. So that's going to be 13 for Althouse's guys. It's going to actually only be 12 because of that. So it's going to be 12. So they can make it back into the woods. And lastly, we're going to try to get, this is Ewald's group. They only move 3 inches. I was wrong about the water not having an effect. And it's Tiffin. Okay, Tiffin would be the end of a turn, so people who were in bad way could shape up. These guys can reload and things like that. End of the chapter is what they call it. All right, 5. British 5 is Althouse. I'm going to go ahead and move 10, but I subtract 3, so 7 inches. I don't know if that's the right move. Red flag, British number 3. British number 3 is Captain Wright. Captain Wright's still moving in the water. Let's try to get out of the water. 6 inches, so that's going to get him out of the water onto dry land. American 3. Diggs. Diggs is over here on this front, behind the fence line. He's got Hessians in front of us at pretty close range, but he's also got Althouse's guys coming up behind them. So we're going to go ahead and shoot. There's 6 guys firing in the woods. He's going to use his 1d6. This is their first fire. Close range now with the musket. 3s through 6s will hit, except the darkness is going to make it 4. So it's 4 hits. However, they are in light cover. 4 and 5 are shock, so it's 1 shock. And that's a blue flag. I could have used that a moment ago. That's a blue 4. Ambler. Ambler's smart move is to fire at them here. So that's what we're going to do. Unfortunately, they're still at long, so it's going to be 5s and 6s. There's still 6 of them. The leader. They need 6s to hit because of the darkness. And that's no hits. And Tiffin. That's the end of that turn. Ewald hasn't gone. I'll go ahead and use the flag to try to get Ewald out of the water. Or do I get Lieutenant Parker out of the water? I'm going to try to get Lieutenant Parker out of the water. 1 inch move. And that's the end of that turn. A blue 1. That's an American 1. That's Wilson. Okay, Wilson could actually fire a volley and he could do damage. Now, technically, volleys for formations are straight on. But that's going to include these guys and these guys. So they're firing muskets. They are at, as long as everything over 12 inches for the musket. There are 16 firing. Wilson himself is a level 2 leader. So first fire makes it 5s or 6s. Okay, they can do control volley, but only on their first volley. So that's what we're going to do. They're going to present control volley. Alright, so it's 5s or 6s for first fire. Controlled volley makes it 4, 5, or 6. Darkness makes it 5s or 6s. Alright, that's 4 hits on either unit. They're in the open. We're going to do the first group here first. I got 2 1s, those are nothing, but a 6 and a 5. 6 is a kill, and a 5 is a shock. So that's a kill to one of them. Alright, so now we're going to do Parker's group. Same thing. A dead ranger and a shock. And then we get British flag and American 2. That is Andrew Graham. That's the company that's moving in the background. I think I'm going to wheel them around. So they're going to use both of their movements to move. They get 6. Americans 3, everyone's gonna go. That's Diggs. Diggs's group is gonna load and fire again. They can't fire into the woods. Everybody's out of line of sight from them. They have one shock on them, so not enough to affect their... They're gonna shoot at this company up here. It's still long range. There's 6 of them, one for their leader. Again, it's long range, so it's 6. They are regular skirmishers firing in cover at long. So it's 5 or 6, but darkness makes it 6 onlys. And they get nothing. They're getting nervous as the enemy gets closer. That is a British flag. A American flag. I could have used that a moment ago. 2 American flags. That's 3 flags in a row. That's going to be a special event. The last thing that happened was Diggs group fired. So we roll duty 6. We get 4. Damp squib. Powder is damp. The unit will fire at half effect until fresh powder can be found or collected from an ammunition wagon. Tiffin, that's the end of the turn. We have some people that can activate. We have 2 reds and 2 blues, so it's exactly tie. So we'll break it by force points. The British will go first. The British can activate one of their units, and what we're going to do is we're going to move Ewald's guys out of the water, I hope. So, actually they're lights, they get another die. 12, that's going to be 8 because of the water. And now they are finally out of that water. Then I'm going to use a blue flag to activate amblers. They're over here, they're going to load and shoot. There's 6 of them. They don't get their boss's bonus this time because they're activating on a flag, not on him. They're at close range. 4 5s or 6s. They lose their bonus. It's dark, so it's now 5s or 6s. So that is 1 hit. 1 hit in light cover. I get a 1. That is a nothing. Activate another British unit. The last of the Queen's Rangers. They get 7. They can move 3 inches. They can only move 2 inches because they've got status issues, so that's better than nothing. An American 2, that is Captain Andrew Graham. He has got the 2nd unit of militia, the less experienced militia. That's probably good. I'm going to go ahead and activate them for a move. They can move 11 inches. They're going to have to move 11 inches probably because I didn't give any more direct orders than that. But the goal is to try to stiffen up this flank before it falls. And that's probably going to do it. We're going to use this other point to form the guys in the front as a skirmish line of protection to the arriving militia. Tiffin, that's the end of the turn. Blue flag. Blue flag. 2 American flags. And a British 3. British 3 is Captain Wright. He's right here. Captain Wright is going to get rid of shock. Yeah, he's going to use his other order to form them up. That's a formation now. That's American 1. That's Wilson. And he's going to go ahead. I don't think they can hit. Yeah, they can't really hit because of the -1. Wilson's unit will reload. We've got Tiffin. We have 2 American flags. So American units can do something. They cannot direct from their bosses though. I'm going to go ahead and fire with Ambler's guys into the woods. They've still got 6 guys. They're going to need 6s, mostly because of the darkness. They're also in cover. No hits, so nothing there. That is a British flag. British 4. British 4 is Lieutenant Parker. He's now just doing morale issue. So he gets rid of a shock on the Queen's Rangers. American 2, this is Captain Andrew Graham. He's with the militia unit. I could bring him up to the wall and pull back the skirmishers. Yeah, I'm going to do that. They roll 5, that's probably enough. Red flag, British flag. 2 British flags so far. American 3, that is digs. Digs will load and fire. They're going to go ahead and fire at the Queen's Rangers. So there's 6 of them. I got a leader there for 1. They're going to need 6s because of the darkness, and they're still at long range. I got 1 hit this time. So 1 hit in the open. That's a 6. That's going to be a downed guy. I should have actually rolled to see. Well, it would probably be this unit. 4. American 4, that is Ambler's group. Ambler's group fell back to open up route for the line militia. So they're going to try to scurry across the table. They get 11 inches. British 3, this is Wright. Wright's going to move for the 1. 6 inches. Wow. Well, it's going to come up to the hill here. They do get first fire. They can do controlled volley, first fire only. Crashing volley is 3. They don't have sharp practice. I'm not going to shoot. So they're going to move forward, the 1, and then present. So they go into present. That is a American flag. British 5. Does Outhouse still try to do his end run? Yeah, I think so. They only roll 2, and they're in heavy woods, which gives them a subtraction of 1 pip per die, so they're not going to get far. They're not even going to get out of the woods here. Is Althouse a 2 though? Althouse is a 2, so they're going to get rid of shock. Blue flag. That's 2 blue flags. 3 blue flags. We could actually activate somebody right now, but who hasn't already activated? Wilson hasn't activated. Wilson is right here against this tree line, facing the presented. Yeah, I think that's the thing to do. We're going to spend 3 flags, and we're going to activate Wilson's group out of order. They are now at close range, so they're 4s through 6s. They are firing uncontrolled. 4 5s and 6s. Darkness makes it 5s and 6s. We got 5 hits. Put 3 on the stronger unit, 2 on the weaker. They're in the open. I don't think that's anything. Nope, that's nothing. And then 3 over here. I'll re-roll that. So 3 shock on that unit there. And that's a Tiffin. That would be the end of them, except we can activate 2 British units that haven't gone yet. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to activate these Hessians over here to try to get them out of harm's way. 9. They're going to come all the way up behind these woods here. We're going to shoot with Althouse's rifles. This is going to be 6 Germans. They're commanded by Ewald, who's a status 2 leader. Oh, except that this is activating on the end, on the Tiffin, so they don't get the status. It's still close, so it's 4 5s and 6s. It's going to be 3 4 5s and 6s. I mean 5s and 6s because of the... Oh, except that they are Jaegers. So back to 4 5s and 6s. 3 hits to a unit behind the fencing. We've been calling the fencing light, so I'm going to continue to do that. I don't know if that's right. We get 2 5s and a 1. That's shock. 2 levels of shock on the militia. So we get a blue flag, American flag. Blue 2, Graham's unit. Graham's unit just got fired at. This will be their first shot, so they can do controlled. This is a militia unit, so it's 10 guys in each one. It's run by Leader 2 Commander, who's also going to use that flag that's out there. It's a first fire bonus. This is going to be close. It would normally be 4s through 6s. First fire is going to make it 3s. Controlled volley makes it 2s. Darkness makes it 3s. So this is probably going to be devastating. That's 11 hits, and it's going into a large body of people. It's going to affect anybody within a line of people that are directly out from these two lines here. So that's going to include both units of Hessians and the alt house. So there's 3 units of guys in there. So it's 4, 4, and 3. Nobody's in the open. So we're going to roll for the front Hessians first. They're in light cover, so that's 1 shock. Then we have alt houses guys. Alt house is also in the cover. They get 3 shock. And then we have 3 on the other group of Jaegers. And that is 2 shock. Alright, we have American 4. American 4 is Ambler's unit. That's the unit running in the background. We're going to go ahead and continue that running. That's 14. That's a long way. They can get all the way over to this fence line off the camera here. That's a British flag, American flag, 1 flag of each right now, and an American 3. That is right. Right's guys can load, and then they can fire uncontrolled. And fire uncontrolled volleys. Right's also going to drop 1 point of... Oh wait, I don't think he can. I think Right's only a level 1. Not Right. Graham. No, Graham's level 2. Okay, so he's going to drop them down to only 1 shock, and then they're going to fire. So this is no longer a controlled volley. We've got still 10 guys firing into the crowd there. They only have the 1 shock. It takes 2 shock to affect your shooting. I'm going to go ahead and use the other flag, I think. The range is close, 4 through 6. So it's going to be 5s and 6s now. Not nearly as good as the first one. In fact, there's only 2 hits. We're going to put it first on the front Hessians. 2 is nothing. And then we'll put it on alt houses, and that is nothing. So no effect on that. Red 3, British 3, this is Right. Right can fire and reload. That's what he's going to do. Right's going to fire and reload. So we'll take the present off. They are all under 12. These are provincials. Right is a level 2 commander. I'm going to go ahead and use his flag. Close range, so it's 4 through 6. It is a controlled volley. So 3 through 6. Darkness makes it 4s and 6s. So any 4s and higher. Again, it's shooting at anything in that range. It's 3 groups. So this group, that group, and them there. And that's going to be an equal 3 on each. So I'm going to roll for the closest group of Wilsons. These guys are in light. They have a dead and a shock. They don't have to roll for the officer because it's only the 1. And then we're going to do 3 on the next group there. Nothing. And the last remaining 3 is on Diggs's militia dudes here. They would actually count in hard because they count as a level higher because they're skirmishers. So one of those guys is gone. Blue flag. Second blue flag. Red flag. 3 flags in a row. That's going to be a special event. It's going to be a shooting, and it's going to affect the Queen's Rangers because they were the last ones to fire. So we roll 2d6 and we check the random shooting event list. And we have a 7. Smoke. A pall of smoke hangs across the immediate front of the fires. Firing this will be -1 hit till the smoke clears on chapter end. If the unit moves, the smoke remains where it is placed. So they're being blocked by a clump of smoke in the middle of the field. And Tiffin. We can activate on flags. We have 2 American units, but I think all my Americans went. The British did not, so we can activate our British units. We'll try to get alt house around the corner, I think. They get 12, which is going to get them, wow. Do I want to get to the fence? I don't think I need to get to the fence. Let's go down this way, on the hill. So this is going to put rifles on the flank of that unit, and we'll move the other Hessians up. 3, 6, 7, but they've also got -3, so it's 4 inches. That turn was a great example of this game. Short practice can change on you overnight or very quickly, just by the luck of chips. Because it looked to me like the flank was about to fall. It still may, but it looked pretty heavily like it was going to fall a moment ago, with Althouse's guys coming around on the flank and the Jaegers in the trees, and nothing but a body of skirmishers holding the fence line. And then, just because of the luck of whose cards came up, the second best group of militia I have out there, Graham's guys, took the position, and the skirmishers that were there made it all the way over to the other side of the field to provide some cover. We'll see what happens now. And we get a American flag, a British 3, that is Wright. Wright is in command of the unit here. They still have the smoke in front of them, so they're at a -1 if they fire, but they probably should go ahead and do that. Okay, they're going to have to go into doing uncontrolled volleys if they keep shooting, but I think that's what we want to do. 13. Wright himself is a commander 2. We don't have any other advantages, I don't think. We are under 12. He's going to use one of his commands to bring this down to 2. That's still not what he wants. That's still going to get a negative. That'll take away a die. So they're firing at close range. That would have been a 4, 5, or 6. The smoke is going to make it 5 or 6. It's going to be 6s because of the darkness. Even needing 6s, there were still 3. I'm going to put 1 on the group. Oh, actually, it's going to have to be 1 on each because there's actually 3 groups in the firing. So 1 on each. So we're going to roll that group first. It's nothing. This group here, that is nothing. And the last group there, nothing. They fired uncontrolled volley into the militia and did pretty much nothing. American 4. American 4 is Ambler, right there. I could fire, I don't know if I'm going to do much. I'm going to go ahead and use the command flag that's there for an extra die. They're going to need 6s to do anything, so it's not very likely. There's 1. It's going to be on the unit here. That's a dead. That was, I guess, worth it. Did some damage at least. And then we get American flag, a American 2. American 2 is Graham, so they're going to continue to load and fire. The commander of Graham's unit is a 2. I'm going to go ahead and use another one, that other flag. So we're talking close range, 4 through 6, 5s and 6s because of the darkness. But there's 3 units involved, so or 3 groups, so this is going to get spread. I'm going to put 2 on the guys in the open because they are in the open. They're the unit over here, and then 3 and 3 because I think the cover is going to actually help. For Althouse's men, Althouse, they're in the open too. That's a 6 and a 5 in the open. That is a kill and a, I thought that would be 2 kills actually, but nope. They got 4 guys and they're at 4. They are a step away from being pinned. Then we've got 3 at first group of Jaegers. Those are the Jaegers under Briner. Now those are nothing. All 3 are nothing. And the last 3, the men directly under Ewald, 3 and 4. And then we get a red flag, British flag, and a Tiffin. So all we have right now is a British flag, and the Jaegers and Althouse's guys haven't done anything. So that's the thing. We're going to activate Althouse's guys. It's only 2 dice, but they're rifles. They would have been 4 dice. They're down 2 because of the 4 shock. They don't get anything for their commander because we're activating on a flag. I'm in close range, so it would be 4 to 6. First fire makes it 3 to 6. Controlled volley makes it 2. Darkness makes it 3. So they're likely to hit with something, right? They don't. And those are rifles, so they take 2 turns to load. Lots of shooting going on, not a lot of injury happening. All right, so got a American flag. Was that 3 in a row? I think that was 3 in a row. 3 in a row. It was a firing random effect, and it's going to be on Alt House. 8, 3 rounds of bloody minute. The unit immediately takes 1 additional firing related action, firing, loading, or presenting. So they get to take off one of their smokes right away. That is British 3. British 3 is right. Right's going to just keep shooting, barreling into the militiaman on the woods. He's got to have an effect eventually, right? So there's 12 guys shooting. Right gives a +2 to that himself. No cards there. These are muskets shooting at close range. So that would be 4s through 6. The smoke, though, is making it 5 and 6. And the night is making it 6s only. That night is really having an effect. 2 hits on 3 units. We're going to go ahead and put it on the 2 big units. So the first one there, 4. That's probably shock. That is shock. And then this unit here, nothing. And then we get a British flag. And American 3. That's the militia just there, right here in the middle there. I think Diggs only has a 1. You can't take the shock off and activate them. There's 5 guys shooting. Right is a 1, so that only adds a 1 to it. I mean, Diggs only adds a 1. Now, do I want to use the 2 for that? I could put the 2 on there to give 2 additional dice. Who are we shooting at? Yeah, they're going to have to shoot at the Hessians. And they can only hit 3 of them. All right, we're going to do that. If I get more than 3 hits, it's just not going to count. Now that's still going to be 6s, right? So no hits. Another flag, American flag, American 4. That's Ambler. They are. They're at a long range, so they can't hit anyway. So they might as well load. I think they're going to have to just stay there. Tiffin. So we have an American flag and a British flag. The British will reload Althouses for the 2nd time. So yeah, we could shoot our big guys again. So let's go ahead and do that. It's not going to have any kind of plus on it because again, it's activating on the Tiffin. But there are a lot of guys there. There's only one shock on them. It's going to be very close range. So it's 4 5s and 6s. Darkness is going to make those 5s and 6s. Yeah, they've fallen back enough that they can't actually get hit, which means it's actually only 2 units, which means it should be 3 on 3. It's going to be these Jaegers and Althouses. So the other Jaegers take 2 shock, and then Althouses guys who they cannot take this. They're in the open, and they take a shot. 1 more shock on Althouses, and they will be pinned. And we change turns again. We've been flying through turns, but we're still not seeing a whole lot of real definitive action going on. The lingering smoke in the middle of the field here is causing a problem. The night is causing a problem. And that's an American flag. 2nd American flag. I think I keep forgetting that the Diggs guys are actually reduced in shooting. 3 flags. That's another random shooting event, and this time it's going to be Graham's militia. Oh, okay, 10. Low on ammunition. The firing unit can only fire at close range until they can resupply from an ammunition wagon. That's not really a problem. They are at close range. Then we have British 4. Lieutenant Parker. Lieutenant Parker is the lieutenant of the Rangers. He is a 1, so he can start reducing their stress a little bit. We have a 4 is Ambler, and Ambler is the guy I don't know what I'm going to do with. Do I run out of there? Do I take that? I think that's what we do. I think we have to get on the flank. This may be a stupid maneuver, but I think we got to get over here on the flank. So I'm going to roll. They lose the 1. so they can move an inch, just the other side of the fence. Blue flag. We have 3 American flags. If we get 4, that it's not only can they group activate, but it doesn't count as their activation this turn. So it's a real advantage if they get it. That's an American 3. That is William Diggs right here. I guess we'll do the same thing we did last time because it's about all that's a legit shot for them really, is shooting into the woods here. So they're going to load and shoot. There's 6 of them, but they still don't have a negative to their hit. They do, however, get their bonus from the guy in charge this time. I'm not going to use those flags, as tempted as I am. 5s or 6s. 1 hit. It's only the 1 unit there, soft cover. That's a dead. A Jaeger is taken out. British flag. British 2. So we have a British 2, that is Briner. This is Briner's guys here in the woods there. Briner needs to get some of that shock off. He's only a 1, Briner, so that means he either activates them or he takes shock off. They're at 4 shock. That's going to be -2 to their attacks. They're also unloaded. I think the thing to do is to reload. This is a British 1. That is going to be Ewald. Okay, Ewald is a 2. He could order them into formation. I think I'm going to move up into the woods and shoot. Not with that, I'm not. I rolled a 3 and they have 3 shock on them, so they can't move at all. I can take a shock off though as well, so that's what we'll do. Got it. I got 3 blue flags. We'll flip those over. Who do I fire? Do I fire Graham or do I fire... I'm going to fire the guys over here because they've been having a little more effect, I think. So there's 8 of them. Wilson is a leader 2. And they're going to need 5s or 6s. They do lose 1 die because of shock. Let's go ahead and use Wilson's, one of his commands to bring that down to 1 first, which will put that die back in. And then they're going to fire. They need 6s because of the dark and because of the smoke. Yeah, see, there would have been 3 more hits if it wasn't for the negatives. I've got 3 hits though. So I'm going to put 2 on the unit with the officer and 1, or with the commanding officer with right and 1 on the other. This unit here, they're in the open, but still, the 1 in the open does nothing. And then the other unit also in the open, that's a 6 and a 4. 6 is clearly a dead, but the other one is a shock. So that's an extra shock on them. Won't matter, Tiffin. There's 2 British flags out there. Wright's going to return shot. This is Wright operating on a flag, so Wright's number doesn't count. Loses a die for shock, which does count. It would normally have been a 4, 5, or 6. It's going to be 3, 4, 5, or 6 because they're lights. Smoke makes it 4, 5, or 6. It's going to be 5s or 6s. Yeah, this is the right thing for them to do. They get 2 hits, 3 hits. 3 hits on 3 units. That's fitting. So it's 1 die per unit. So the first group here, nothing. The group in the middle, that's a hit. That's a dead. There's no officer with that group, so there's no roll that gets to be made. And the last, this group here, is nothing. So not horribly effective, but they did take a man out. Red flag. That's a British flag. American flag. We've been having a lot of events. That's a British flag. That's 3 events in a row. The last thing that happened was the shooting of the Queen's Rangers. 9. Charge them to hell. Inspired by their volley and convinced the enemy is done for, the fires surge forward 2d6s. If they make contact, they will fight fisticuffs immediately and are counted as aggressive in the first round of the fight. Wow. They're going to charge forward 2d6. That's 7. I'm going to go ahead and move the smoke, I think, because it won't apply now. Let's put this behind them, I guess, to notify them. It's not enough to get into close combat. That's crazy. That is a crazy thing. 4. American 4. American 4 is Ambler. Ambler is the one that was coming over on the flank there. I'm going to try to wheel them into a flank. I'm going to try to shoot this turn, so I'm only going to give them 1. 4 inches we get. That may not be enough. That's plenty enough. And for their second, they're going to shoot. There's 6 guys there. I'm going to go ahead and use a flag for an extra die and give a die for the commander. They're going to be close range, so it's only going to be 5s or 6s. That is 3 hits. I'm going to put 2 on the close one and 1 on the farthest, just because that seems to make more sense to me. So 2 on there in the open. That is a 3 and a 5. That's 2 shock. So that group gets 3 shock, and this unit here gets us another shock. So it's at 2 shock. And the next thing I get, American flag. American 1. That's Dave Wilson. This is Wilson's group right here, so he's only inches away. They're not going to get much advantages, but they're only militia. The other guys are better than them, so they do outnumber them. I think the thing to do right now is load and fire. Besides, they're uncontrolled. He may not even have a choice. So, going to use one of his controls to get rid of his last shock, and then we're going to go ahead and shoot into their faces. I'm going to go ahead and use his ability. I'm going to use the flag that's remaining here for another one. Normally this is close range. It would normally be 4, 5s, and 6s. Knight's going to make it 5 and 6. That other smoking is now gone. Of all those dice, I only got 4. So 2 on 2. 2 and 2. So 2 on this unit here. That's a 3 and a 4. That is, I think a 3 is a, yep. And then this unit here, they're still handling their shock okay. That is also 2. So they're taking a bit of shock. That's part of why I did fire. Try to do more damage to them before going in. And a red flag. That's 3 red flags, 3 British red flags. So I could activate something out of order right now. That may be the thing to do. I could either fire a volley with the Rangers from right up front, or I could try to attack. I have 3 flags, so I could activate them that way, but well, no, that still operates right. I think that's what I want to do. All right, so we're going to try to get control of an uncontrolled unit because they've been firing uncontrolled. So the first thing that has to happen is we have to get them back under control. We're calling them provincials. That means they need a 4, 5, or 6. All right, well, it's worth it. If they fail, they just shoot, right? So he doesn't get control of them, but that doesn't mean they can't shoot. So he can use his 2 as well. Close range, 4, 5, and 6. Knight's going to make it 5 and 6. Could lower that to 3 first. That'll take some of those dice out. So that's 1 and that's 2. 5s or 6s. We have 4, all of them 6s, but that doesn't matter, unfortunately. There's 3 units, so 1 on each of the flanks and 2 in the middle. So the one on the end there, so his shock is right back on it. The group in the middle has 2 on them. He's got shock on him, just 1 point. And those fellas there, just 1. Nothing. And then we get an American flag. That's 3 flags in a row. Again, the last group to fire was the Queen's Rangers. That was a firing attempt again. They get an 8. 3 rounds of Bloody Minute. The unit immediately takes 1 additional firing related action. Firing, loading, or presenting. So they are in fact loaded for what it's worth. And the American 3, that's Diggs, that's the infantryman right in front of them. They're going to shoot at the men charging them. There's 5 guys there. They have 1 shock. They're commanded by a 1. I'm going to go ahead and use the flag that's here. Normally that would be 4s through 6s. It's going to be 5s and 6s. Really? They get 1 hit. 1 hit! And it does shock. The shock's going to be a problem for that unit soon. This battle is probably not going to go the way it historically went. We have a British 4. British 4 is Lieutenant Parker. Lieutenant Parker is going to use his 1 to drop the shock a little bit. He's doing his job. I'm going to go ahead and use the other flag to make him act as a 2, which will allow him to get shock off both of them. And then we have the Tiffin. Because of what I just did, nobody has any flags, so that's the end of that turn. American 4. American 4 is Ambler. Ambler is going to load and shoot. They are at close range. It's 4 5s and 6s. It's going to be 5s and 6s. 6 of them. The leader gives an extra 1. That's Ambler off there in the corner. It's got an extra 1 on it. 5s or 6s is what they need to hit. They have 3. Do the same thing I did last time. 2 on the flank, 1 on the other guy. So 2 and 1. That's 1 more shock. And the 1 over here is nothing. British 1. British 1 is Ewald. He's going to lower shock first, and then he's going to order his men into a formation. American 1, that's Wilson. Does Wilson charge? Does he try to control and go into a charge? Wilson's going to charge. I think that's what we do. No, because he can't make it. Well, he could make it because they're right up against the fence line now. Yeah, he's going to use 1 of his 2 points to get rid of a shock, reduce his movement. They were uncontrolled. So Wilson tries to excite his men to come over the fence. He fails to make his command roll, so he doesn't get control of them, so they're going to continue to shoot over the fence. That may be their better move anyway. He's got 2. All right, so they're close range, 4 5s and 6s. It's 5s and 6s because of the darkness. 3. There's only 2 units out there. We're going to put 2 on the unit with the commanding officer. They are in the open. That is a shock and a dead, but it is not. He needed 2 to actually hit the officer. And then 1 on the other unit. That is a shock. British 4. British 4 is Parker. Parker is going to work hard to lower some shock there. Try to keep the shock under control. It's a British flag. American 3, that is Diggs. Diggs is going to fire. They're going to load and fire. This is Diggs right here. He's going to shoot at the Rangers right in front of him. Load and fire. I should have done the work. It's 4 5 and 6. It's going to be 5s and 6s. There are 3 hits. Technically, they're all in the same unit. Wouldn't they be? I'm going to call that all the same unit. I'm not sure they can be the same unit, so let's go ahead and divide that up. So, yeah, not good. Not good for that group. Something's got to start going, or they got to start pulling back. Red flag. Got 2 red flags out there. Blue flag. British 5. British 5 is Althouse, who hasn't done anything in a while. Althouse is a status 2. I'm going to go ahead and lower a little of his shock. That's still going to be -2, so this is only going to be 2 dice. If he fires, it shoots. Why wouldn't he? He's going to fire and shoot. 2 dice, fire and shooting. It's 4 5s and 6s. It's going to be 5 or 6 because of the night. They're shooting hair into that. And it's 1 hit. If we roll one, it is the officer. These are rifles. I'm going to roll a d6 to see what happens. It's a light wound. He's reduced by 1 status level. Alright, so he's only reduced by 1 status level. That's not horrible, but it is a bad things happen. There's a status 2 leader wounded. We rolled a 2. That's a -1 point. And then that was a rifle. British flag. There are 3 British flags out there. Somebody could activate out of order. I'm going to go ahead and activate the Rangers, I think. I hope that's the right choice. So the Rangers are going to activate those 4 reds, 4 flags. How do I do the Hessians? The Hessians have no... So we're going to activate the Hessians in the woods over here. Ewald is a 2. It's going to be close range, 4 5s and 6s. Knight will make it 5s and 6s. Not terrific. 4 hits. But it's only on the 2 units there. So the 2 closest ones, that's 2 6s. That's 2 deads. And we have to roll 2 or under, and it'll be the leader who's already wounded. It is not the leader. So 2 dead out of that unit there. And then 2 out of the other unit. And that is 1 dead. This is Briner. Briner's going to work on getting rid of shock. Did I forget to subtract shock? I may have. Briner can only get rid of 1. Blue flag, American flag. There's two American flags out there. All right, so the only thing that hasn't gone is the group right in front of those Hessians. And I think that's what they're going to have to do. This is going to be firing on a flag, so no officer points. They've just taken some damage. They're at close, so it's 4 5s and 6s. They're going to load and shoot. 4 5s and 6s. Knight makes it 5s and 6s. So 6 hits, but they're shooting between 3 groups, so 2 on each. So the first group of Jaegers right there, they're in cover. They get a 5 and a 3 in light cover. So that's 1 shock. The group in the middle, they get a 4 and a 5. That's going to be 2 shock. And then lastly, also shock heavy, Althouse's guys here, and they get a kill. We have a British flag. An American 4. American 4 is Ambler. Ambler is firing into the flanks over here of the Queen's Rangers. There's still 6 of them. Ambler himself gives a 1. They're going to need 5s and 6s. They get 2 5s. So the first group is a shock, and then the second group is a shock. So this second group, the commander's group, right here, they just have got more shock than they have guys in their unit. So they're going to start falling back. Right now it's only got 1 extra. We're calling them conscripts though, so they're going to immediately retire 2 inches. And that's going to break that formation. This is probably the beginning of the end. So they fall back. They're going to have to roll on the something bad happens chart for falling back. Oh, formation broken first, so that just happened. So formation broken, 1, that's nothing. Obliged to withdraw. All right, so they don't suffer any points at least. It's not that major. We have a American flag, a British flag, and a tiffin. All right, so there's 2 British flags. British can go first. Nobody in the British side is activated. I could try to reform that group. No, I can't because they're activating on flags, so I cannot reform. All I can really do is shoot. The Hessians can reload. That would give a chance for the Americans to respond. I'm going to respond with Wilson's guys. They're going to reload and shoot. They don't get any kind of plus. This is Wilson's group here. They're not getting the pluses again because this is just activating on a flag, but still, we need 5s or 6s. Reload and shoot, 5s or 6s. Oh, they lose 2 dice, 1 dice. So that's 4 hits, 2 on 2. So 2 to the first group. That's at least 1 kill. Yeah, it's just 1 kill. It is a kill and another shock. They're going to fall back. And this unit over here is also taking 2. That is just a shock. But that's another fallback. So they're going to fall back another 2 inches down the hill. And this group's going to fall back 2 inches. And now the other British forces, now all we have left are alt houses who will entirely reload. Now we go to another turn. Tiffin, that is a turn end. The smoke, which actually should have still been here, would just clear right now. Anybody who had weapon issues, that gets resolved, things like that, because it's a break in the action. I don't even remember who all that was. I know it was one of them, but so that's a chapter end. Oh, all the reloads too. Everybody's reloaded. And uncontrolled markers can come off because there's a break in the action. We come back with a British 4. British 4 is Parker. Parker's going to keep working on trying to save his men's morale. That's American 4. That's Ambler. Ambler's going to try to disrupt morale. They're going to fire. There's 6 of them. And Ambler himself. 5s or 6s. There's 2 on each. Actually, they're not in formation anymore. I think this group here in the open just took 4 hits. One's a kill, and one's a shock. They're back up to 8. They've lost another guy. They are almost double. They're pulling way back. That is another roll on the something bad happens. And that one cost a point. So the British are getting a little less certain as well. Still, their morale is much higher than the Americans, but still, things aren't going really well. British 5. British 5 is Alt House. Alt House is going to fix some morale here, going from 4 to 3. Does he fall back or does he continue to shoot? He's still got a negative. That's only 1 die. He's got two dice he can roll, so he's going to do that. 2 dice. Alt House has 2. Alt House is shooting rifles. These are 4, 5s, or 6s. Wow. All 4 hit. These guys are proving their worth now. It's hits on both units there. We'll do the one with the leader in it first. They're in light cover. And that is a dead and a nothing. However, the commander, these are rifles. The commander is not taken out. The other unit is another shock. Good shooting by Alt House over here on the corner. Good shooting by Alt House. And then we get a red flag, British flag, and a Tiffin. Activated our Brits. 1 British unit can activate. I'm going to go ahead and activate the big group of Hessians under Ewald in the woods. I'm going to try to take this flank so we can wrap up the American line. Go ahead and drop that to 4. So they're going to be down 3 dice. Oh, you can't do that. This is not activating the boss. This is activating on a flag. There's 11 of them in there. No pluses. It's going to be 5s or 6s to hit. These are rifles. That's 7 hits. That's not bad. 7 hits on 2 units. We're going to do 4 on the one with the officer in it. That's 1 shock and 2 kills. So shock goes to 2. We get to roll to see if the kill was the leader, who's already wounded. It is not. So there's 2 more of the militiamen out. Then the other unit. And the other unit's 1 shock. That's the end of that turn. American 2, that's Graham. He's going to fire. Graham's going to go ahead and fire. He cannot do the shock and fire because he's wounded. But he's still got a bunch of guys. So, 3. He's going to shoot. He needs 5s or 6s. Very good hit. That's 9 hits, so that's going to be 3 hits on each unit. So we'll do Ewald's guys first. We've got Ewald's guys in the woods first. So that's the first group. That is 1 dead. Then the next group, Briner's men. That's 1 dead and 1 shock. That may matter. And then Althouse's guys here. Althouse's guys are in the open. So that is 3 shock. All right, so that's problematical. So they fall back 2 inches. Althouse's guys are a little worried about continuing. So they are not falling back yet. We do have to make a something bad happens roll though for the group that did withdraw, for Althouse's group. It's a 3, nothing happens. Still, not good. I think the British are losing this. British flag. That's an American 4, US 4. This is Ambler. Ambler's group is going to go forward. They're doing that so they can continue to shoot. At the unit there, 6 of them with Ambler himself. No modifiers on them. 2 deads and 2 shocks. So they're at 10 shock. They lost 2 dead. 1 of those could be the boss though. These aren't rifles, so it would have had to have been a 1. However, they are now over double. They're going to break. So they're going to run 2d6 plus 6 inches away from the unit that just shot them. Not so bad. 5, that's 11. They ignore the water splashing. Running back to their boats, I guess. So that's breaks. So we roll for that. We got a 4. Unit breaks 4. That's another 1 point down for the British. And we get a red 1. That's going to be Ewald. Ewald's got to win the day over here. Gonna use 1 to lower that. He's going to order the unit to reload their rifles. That's going to be their whole turn. Oh, do we charge? They still outnumber us. Yeah, they outnumber us and we have bad morale. I think we have to hold. That's a British 4. Parker, he's going to try to rally his group. Brings them to 9. That's not enough to stop them from running. That's 3 times their number. Briner's going to go ahead and use his abilities to, in fact, he's going to use the flag. We're going to use the flag in Briner to try to get 2 morale off of his guys. Then we have Wilson. Wilson's going to wheel backwards. He's going to start wheeling. Because we're going to start getting ready to fire at that unit. And American flag, a British 3. British 3 is Wright. Wright's going to use 1 of his points to lower his points. They're still pinned, but they could shoot, and that's what they'll do. But they'll shoot at the guys right in front of them there. So that's 4. Actually, it's only 1. That is 2. So total of 3 dice, firing at the skirmishers right there. That's 1 dead, and it's 1 shock. 2. And a red flag. That's a British flag. American flag. British 5. Althouse, he's going to use his 2 to drop his guys to underpinned. Red flag. That's 2 British flags out there right now. Almost everything British has been played in Tiffin. All the British have played. But Americans, Diggs could fire. There's 4 guys. They're going to shoot at these 4 here. They need 5s or 6s. They get 1 hit. And it does nothing. British 3. British 3 is right. He's going to lower shock by 1. They are now no longer pinned. They're still down 2 dice though. He's going to go ahead and fire those 2 dice again at the guys directly in front of him. Plus with his mod, into Diggs men, he gets kill and 2 shock. That group is now almost in trouble. Rick shooting there by right. American flag. British flag. British 5. That is John Althouse. Althouse is going to go ahead and lower some more shock. American flag. British number 4. That's Parker. Parker's going to go ahead and lower his guys. American 4, that's Ambler. Ambler's going to fire now at these guys. They've been doing pretty well, Ambler. So they're loading and firing at the Queen's Rangers. They need 5s, they get 1 hit. They are going to open. That's another shock. They're going to fall back 2 inches. That's this way. And Tiffin. And we have 2 American flags, 1 British flag. The Americans could go first. The only Americans that have activated are the unit that just fired. We're going to fire at the Jaegers with Wilson's men. This is an uncontrolled shot by Wilson at the Jaeger guys in the trees. Need 5s or 6s. Oh man. So there's 6 hits. They still have 3 units available though, so this group here gets 2. That's going to be an additional shock. Over here gets 2. That's an additional shock. And lastly in the open, Althouse's guy, that's a hit, a kill. Althouse's guys are in trouble over there. That's the first of the Americans. The Brits, the Jaegers could shoot. So they will. They don't get any pluses to this, but... And they're down 3 dice. 5s or 6s, not a thing. That was not worth it. Not for rifles particularly. American flag. British flag. That's Althouse. You can get rid of their shock entirely, I think. British 4, that's Lieutenant Parker. Parker's gonna try to get his men back under control again. American 4, that's Ambler. They're going to load and fire. They're firing at the Queen's Rangers. Almost out of range. They need 6s. No, 5s and 6s. They get 1 hit. And it does nothing. American flag. American flag. See American flags out there. British 3, that's Captain Wright. He's going to fire at the guys in the woods again, because it seems to be working for him. Wright's guys over here in the woods shooting at the riflemen. It's only 3 hits. That was the worst shot so far that they've done. So 1 on the first group of Hessians, that's nothing. 2 on the next group, that's nothing. And Althouse's guys in the open, that is another dead. Althouse not doing well over there. Then we get British flag, British 2, that's going to be Briner. Briner's going to use his point to lower some shock. That's what Briner does. American 3, that is Diggs. Diggs is a 1. He's going to go start trying to deal with some shock here, I think. That's Wilson. Wilson's guys are there. I'm going to go ahead and try to move them in a reverse wheel. No problem. And they're going to shoot at that unit there. He's also going to get rid of the shock. Probably need 6s. He does need 6s. But he got a bunch. He's got 6 6s, man. He's shooting at a group in the open. And he gets a kill. And 3 shock. So that group falls back 2 inches. Wilson has fired. And that's a Tiffin. We have 3 Americans and 2 Bretts. The only American that hasn't gone is Andrew Graham, and Andrew Graham can go first. That again is my militiaman here. We're going to go ahead and shoot at the Germans again. Missing 2 dice, but still. They need 5 or 6s. Their luck seems to be wearing out. They only got 5 hits. I'm going to use 2, 2, and 1. So 2 on them. That's going to be another shock. 2 on them. That's another shock. And 1 on Althouse's group. And that is a shock. Now the Brits could fire the same thing as they'd have to reload. But that's what they'll do. They'll reload. This is going to take forever. British 3. That is Wright. Wright's got to deal with this. They're at 9. He's going to bring that down there. Wright's in trouble. American flag. American flag. 2 American flags. 3 flags in a row. That's another situation, another random thing. So this is going to be a firing special event. It's going to be affecting Ewald. We got 7. That's smoke. A pall of smoke hangs in front of the fires. Firing through this will be -1 to hit until smoke clears. If the unit moves, the smoke remains where it was. So there's a big blob of smoke now over between Ewald and his guys. Not particularly good. American 3, that's going to be Diggs. Diggs is right there, and all he's done is lowered shock. 2nd British flag. American 4, that is Ambler. Yeah, they'll load and shoot, and they'll just stay where they're at. I'm going to use the 2 flags. I need 6s. That's 3 6s. 3 6s, shooting it in the open. That's 1 dead, and that's all. However, that puts them at, they're going to have to fall back. They're going to have to roll for that. That is Althouse. I think Althouse needs to fall back. I think falling back is the thing to do. In fact, I think we may need to quit here. I don't think that there's a way to win this right now, unless it is with the Hessians. The Hessians are doing all right over there. But Althouse is down to 2 guys. He's pretty much wrecked. Ewald. Ewald is going to order his units to shoot. He's going to lower some shock. He's going to go ahead and use 2 flags. He needs 6s because of the smoke cloud in front of him. 6s. They only get 1. We'll put it on the officer unit directly in front of them. 4, that's a shock. This could be devastating. Put 2 more dice in for that. He's got absolutely no shock. He's gonna, oh, we could fire at both. So we got 7 shots. We're gonna do 4 on this, 3 on that. So 4 on there in the open. That's 2 shock, 2 kills. That's the unit destroyed, really. Wiped out. That's -0.. And then 3 over on this unit here. 7, that's still 10. They are gone. They have just left the table. That's another force morale. The British force morale is now equal to the Americans. That hurts. Wow, nothing but American actions this turn. That's Ambler. Ambler's now out of range of anybody. They're going to charge it. American flag, British flag, 4, British 4, that's Parker. Parker is gone, he just left. British 3, that's Wright. Tiffin. One Brit. Brits are gonna load. That's the Germans in here, they're gonna load. British flag. American 2, that Graham. Graham's gonna shoot again. He needs 6s. 3 6s, so 2 with the officer. That's 1 dead. 1 with the other group. That's nothing. Tiffin. Do I start pulling my Brits out or do I shoot? Let's try running them. All right, 3, British 3, that's Wright. Wright is on his way to the boat. That's 9, 10, 11. Flag, red flag. British 2, that's Briner. Briner's gonna go and take some shock off. Blue flag. Second blue flag. Third blue flag. Last thing that happened was a movement roll. It's probably not going to matter because it was actually the officer. It was 9. All right, they would be lost, but it doesn't really matter. 1, American 1, that's Wilson. I think Wilson wants to come down off that hill. Wow, that is not at all how the actual battle went. Historically, the militia lost their nerve and left their positions and took off. The Jaegers would end up continuing on to Warwick, and they spent an uneasy night in the town of Warwick that evening. But this could have easily have happened. In fact, Ewald will write of his instruction to invade, and I followed his instruction. In case you're wondering, some of you watching the game may have thought, well, you should have charged the enemy. This is part of why I didn't charge directly into the works. Ewald states of his orders from Arnold, "I do not deny that this little trick left me with no great opinion of General Arnold's judgment. Ordering men without bayonets to land and attack an enemy equipped with bayonets, since the light infantry was just as close to them as I was, that the enemy lost his nerve and left, that was luck. But had they taken a stand and thrown themselves upon the Jaegers and riflemen when I climbed up the steep bank with my men, which could not have been done in the best order, all would have been lost." I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed making it. If you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the comment section down below. Also, if you have any ideas for further content you'd like to see us produce here on Cry Havoc Wargaming, we look for those in the comments down below as well. If you found the video at all useful, I hope that you will go ahead and hit like. And if you'd like to receive further notifications for videos like this one that may help you determine how to better spend your money or time in your wargaming tabletop hobby, then I'll hope you hit subscribe and ring our notification bell. Till next time. Cheers.